sober and somebody that's trying to get sober comes around you and you're teaching them how to get sober? Are you teaching them the right way how to get sober? See, I wasn't that dad. I was a runaway dad. And I had good parents, but you can look at that at where you work. What type of employee are you? How other people are watching you. People are watching your attitudes when you walk in the door. People are watching you as you live while you're grateful to be above ground and out of prison. See, it isn't just about you or me. It's about the influence that you have or lack thereof on people. It is so important that we grasp the fact that if God has selected you, which He has, that you are a person of influence. You don't have to be a person of negative influence. That's why we're working the steps. Can you imagine if that dad was an alcoholic addict like me and that kid, and I went to my son and said, they're making me work the steps, son, after I left my family for dope. Can you imagine the look on my son's face? A son that waited for his dad, that drugs were more important than him in my actions. Can you imagine that somebody had to deal with people like, see, I don't want to be a person that somebody has to deal with. Go deal with Jeff. He's high again. Go deal with Jeff. He's angry again. Go deal with Jeff. He's isolating again. Go deal with Jeff. You know, he didn't do what he said he was going to do. He didn't do what he signed up to do at Serenity Village. Go deal with Jeff. See, if Doug and Jack had to spend more time on the people they didn't have to deal with versus the people that really wanted this would be a whole different, and it's still a great place, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be a person that somebody has to go deal with and murmur and complain. Can you imagine with all the stuff that my mom who's here tonight, picking me up at crack houses, getting me out of jail, doing this, doing that, you know, oh my God, they're making me work the steps. Can you believe it? That's just audacity. And we need to be checked like this. Can your character handle this type of a check? See, a lot of people love to be around when everybody's doing the kumbaya. But if you're rolling through this, like you said, this ain't designed to be easy. Nothing good is. I don't want to be just a surfacey person. We need to get to the root. If we don't kill it at the root, Lord, I thank you for another day above ground and out of prison. Lord, I thank you for the people that are truly working the steps, that are facing their fears or facing their anxieties and getting rid of their rebellion. Lord, I thank you for what you're going to do in their lives and my life, Lord, because I'm doing it with them. Lord, I pray for the ones that aren't, that when they do fall, that it won't be that drastic. But it will be drastic enough to get their attention so they'll crawl back and maybe do it next time, if there is a next time. Lord, only you can make that call. Lord, I love you and I thank you. I ask you to remove me from the building. Lord, I ask this for the spirit of humility, and I rebuke the spirit of people being offended by the truth. Lord, this is such I came into your kingdom as a man with little boy issues. I don't want to be a man with little boy issues anymore. We don't want women with little girl issues. We want men and women of God. That's why you saved us in spite of us. Because you have a plan for us. And it's not going to be easy to walk that path. But Lord, with you it will be. Lord, I pray for the spirit of transparency, clarity, and do your thing tonight. In your name we pray, amen. So I did 15 fifth steps in the last week. It gave me a pretty good idea of why we get high and drink. Because as I was hearing the fifth steps, I heard myself. And as people dared to share what their deepest, darkest secrets were, I could relate. Sometimes I did the same thing they did, sometimes a little different, but the feeling that goes behind acting out, as Tracy mentioned, is the same. We all have unmet needs. We've been trying to meet our needs with everything but God from a very, very young child. So after hearing the fifth steps, and I did a fifth step, I know why we use drugs. We don't use drugs, alcohol, act out. We got people that unworthiness, fear, worry, anxiety, whatever your affliction may be. Because if you're an addict too, you got all those anyway. That's why God's sending people into this program, into our church, because you are willing to take a look at it. The people out in our society don't know how. See, the people in our society will live their whole life miserable, pretending that they're happy, and they'll get away with it because they're not addicts and alcoholics. The blessing that you and I have, if we don't do this, we're going to die. I'm grateful for my addiction. I wouldn't seek God if I didn't have a crack habit. I know that about me. See, so I mean that was allowed in my life. So another thing, as I heard in the 5th steps too, is all of us play the victim card, right? Now, if you're a victim of something, and there's some literal, I was so proud of some of these guys, they got real honest with me. There was some stuff done to them and me, and, as a young person, that truly we were victims. And then as we held on to resentments over the years, what we found as we talked with each other is, that person I was upset with when I was 7, now I'm 27, and it might have been Jim at 7, and it's Bob at 27, but I still got the same feeling from when I was 7, because I'm a victim. And let me tell you something about being a victim. If you're a victim, there will be victims from you. If you're a victim, there will be many victims in your path. See, I've learned that about it, and I wanted to share my number 1 character defect with you. My number 1 character defect that I'm asking God to remove from me after 10 years of Serenity Village and working with thousands of people is for me to not take it personal when somebody doesn't want to recover. Because by me doing that, I'm playing God. I'm just responsible to sow the seeds, but for many years, because of my people-pleasing and my identity was wrapped up of what you thought of me, I took it so personal when somebody would say or not say, and I had to track back through the rest of my life. It's been like that forever. Now I'm asking God through a 6th and a 7th to free me that, because what He's doing here as the largest transitional program in the Midwest, what He's doing with 300 to 400 people coming every Sunday is, I can't take it personal anymore. I got to do His business. And that's His business, not my business. He just picked us to do it. What a privilege. So, with that, I got to begin to conserve my energy. I was going to ask Doug to say something tonight, but there's certain things with this shift going on that I can't be involved with anymore. I can't be drained. I'm 45. I turned 45 a week ago. I'm getting old, and I need to conserve my energy for kingdom business, not drama and chaos and attitude problems. I ain't going to deal with it. I'm not doing it. So, the thing about my character defect, too, and here's what I want you guys to do in groups tonight. There was a question in step 6 is list your character defects. That's what I want us to do the second half of the group. I want you to take it a step further. Ask the people that you live with what your defective character is. And that's a good thing. And I did too, and I hear it every day because I got a bunch of them. And I've tried to remove them. John is a man that I love and respect, and he said to me today, what do we know about the boot camp that we're in right now? If you're not making your 3 calls a day, if you're not doing that, this, that, and there. Just picture yourself, whoever that son is to you, a friend, a brother, a mom, a dad, a son or a daughter, say to them, I got to ask the thing because I'm doing it my way again. You know how sick people get of hearing that we're doing it our way? Well, what John said to me, and this same holds true with business, is he says, am I going to be asked to leave group? I said, are you going to kick me out of group? I said, I don't ever kick anybody out of group. You kick yourself out of group. See, when somebody comes into my office in the company, and they're going to get let go, the first thing I ask them is, because of behavior incident, why did you call this meeting? They think I called the meeting. Why did you call this meeting with me? Well, you just fired yourself. Character defects. Addicts and alcoholics are strong starters. We're sabotage artists. We don't know how to manage our blessings. And that's really what I want to really get into tonight, because we talked about peace on Sunday in Psalm 34:14. It says, we're not used to continuously working on our recovery. How many people work hard at their recovery for whatever your threshold, 90 days, you relapse every time, 6 months, a year. You work on it for whatever your time frame is, 2 weeks, and then you stop. As soon as things level out, as soon as some people talk, now it says, turn away from evil and do good. You know, doing good is just not about, it starts with getting sober, but I mean, a lot of us, including me in my past recoveries, I thought the only thing I had to do was not use. But once I stopped using, I recognized that evil is still in me. Manipulation is still in me. Lying is still in me. Shortcuts are still in me. It says, turn away from evil and do good. Well, a lot of us don't know how to do good. Now it says, search for peace. Well, how many people have searched their whole lifetime for peace other than from God? Money, property, prestige, drugs, alcohol, affirmation from people versus God. We know we can search for peace. We've searched for it in our other lifetime, but now it's time to search for the real peace. The peace that transcends all understanding. And now it goes on to say, and work to maintain it. See, a lot of us, including me, get sober, start to feel good, and then we stop working. We're not good at maintaining anything except our addiction. And if we could put half the effort that we did in getting one more, whatever your more was, into our recovery, can you imagine what your life would look like? But we're creatures of habit. We always travel down the well-worn path. All of us know how to be sober for whatever your time, 90 days. I can do that in my sleep. But what do you do from 90 to 6 months? What do you do from 6 months to a year? What we typically do, because of our character defects, is we stop. I just ran into a guy yesterday. I can see his end coming, and he can't even see it. Everything's good. He doesn't go to meetings anymore. He's living with somebody he loves. He's got a good job. Everything is good on the outside. He quit working on the inside. That's his defect of character. And the fall is coming, and he can't even see it. I can see it. I couldn't see it either when I was in it. And typically, the farther you go into this process, somebody will bring it to your attention. Depending on how far gone you are in this process, you won't listen to them anyway. And it says in Jeremiah 10:23, you are finding out where you were really at. Through these steps, you're finding out what you're really lacking, what it is. And that's not a negative. You got to know where you are so you can know where you can be. See, it's so important. All of us love to talk a good game because we're good talkers. But through this process, you're finding out what you're really at and what you're really willing to do. I know, Lord, that our lives are not our own. See, my best thinking got me here. So I got to quit thinking. I need somebody to think for me, and that takes humility. And I'm quite a few away from my last drink or drug. And my accountability is higher than it's ever been. Because I still run things by my pastor. And it now goes on to say, you're not able to plan your own course. You mean stop trying to do it. You're not able to. Can you imagine if we put all the effort in trying to figure everything out and let it go and gave it to God and took advice from our mentor, sponsor, or pastor? You're not able to. So quit trying to do something that you're not designed to do. You can't do it. One would think a guy like me after 11 treatments should come to this conclusion by now. But it's difficult. Because I want to call my own shots. I want to do my own things. I want to come to my own conclusions. Now it says in 1 Chronicles 12:18, allow God and the God and people to help you. And it says, peace and prosperity be with you, and success to all the people that help you. He's been with me for many years. My wife has too. Doug, Scotty. I don't think these guys have a terrible life. They're right in the middle. Mikey and him and I were roommates 10 years ago. We're still doing it. And life is pretty good. So if you help somebody with a cause, you'll have a cause too, and your life will look good. In fact, I don't know anybody that's doing what we're doing that has a bad life. Just the people that are doing half of what we're doing. I thought about relapse yesterday, right? And I thought about somebody just being so miserable in their recovery when they don't have to be. Being miserable in your recovery is a choice. It's a choice. Your past isn't any worse than mine. Your circumstances, they all affect us the same. But it's so important to know that it says peace and prosperity be with you, and and success to all that help you. For the God is the one who helps you. How many people have been helped by the God in somebody else? Those are the people you want to be around. And if you're around them, success will be yours. And as soon as you break wide from them, you're going down. Because you're leaving the very place that God has put you. And now, I didn't even think about this. Serenity Village is not a bad place to be. I think we got pretty nice houses. You know, I've been in some pretty, low halfway houses in my attempts to get sober. I'm not in the bottom of a basement that's all smoky and everybody's lying and using and all this chaos. So God put us in a place to do it, and we still don't want to do it. So what we don't, do it now or do it in cell block 42. Either way, you're going to do it. Because God's called you to it. I mean, that's a blessing to do that, but our character defects, now it says in Philippians 4:9, are you able to follow advice? What are we talking about on Sunday? People that don't have peace will not listen to advice. And they sit there with this big smile. I'm looking at them some right now. Big smile on their face with all the answers. And I don't mean to be this direct, but I care about you enough to call it like I see it. Because somebody did that for me. And it says, keep putting into practice all you've learned and received from me. What that means to me is I put into practice what I learned and saw in my mentor. And it says keep. That means that we're capable of not only doing it for a short period of time. It says everything you heard from me and saw me doing. So, the key is it says then the peace of God will be with you. Only then. You can search for peace in all the wrong places and get temporary relief from whatever's going on in your mind because we love instant gratification. But the key is only then will the God of peace be with you. It says in Job 22:21, if you work the steps, they will work you. It says submit to God. Now, none of us like to submit to anything. But you have to. It's not an option not to. But you've all have done it. I've done it. I submitted to crack cocaine. I submitted to whatever that drug wanted me to do. So why do I have a hard time submitting to God? And then it says, and you will have peace and things will go well with you. Just like I said about these guys up here, things are going pretty well for them. Why do people choose not to do it? It's because of the lack of character that we have. Now it says in Isaiah 32:17, we are learning a different way to process our feelings. What did you learn about your feelings in your fifth step? That our processors are broken. Just like a computer processor being gone, we don't know how to process our feelings. Does anybody know how? I still don't know how. I need help. And it's like, it says, and the righteousness will bring you peace. See, I talked about this on Sunday. I can't be hiding stuff anymore. I don't want to go to bed at night not knowing everything about me, the people that are close to me. I want them to know everything I do. Here's how we roll with the people that are close. Everybody knows where everybody goes. Now, if you're not ready for that type of submission, you ain't ready for deep recovery. Because why would you have a problem with accountability if you ain't got nothing to hide? People come to me and say they got 40 years probation. I said, that's awesome, man. It's awesome. They don't think it's awesome. But why wouldn't you want that accountability if you're doing the right thing? Who cares? See, and now it says, yes, it will bring quietness and confidence. People that have peace are confident people. But you find, and I found in my recovery, in my attempts at it, there was nothing quiet about this. And because this was going 24/7, I wasn't very confident. Because like Tim alluded to earlier, those voices, see, here's what I say often. Why not start listening to God just like you listen to the devil? Why is it so easy for you to listen to the devil and so hard for you to listen to God? That's a character defect, but it says, yes, it will bring you quietness and confidence forever. Galatians 6:16, we need to change one thing, that's everything. I needed to change, that's what the steps are. It says, may God's peace and mercy be upon you, all who live by principle. If you're a principled person, God gives you mercy because you're not going to do it perfectly. See, I am tired of living on however I feel like living. I'm tired of doing whatever I feel like doing. Because when I feel like doing half the time is not very good. If I did what I felt in my relationships, I probably would have none. If I said what I felt like saying to some people in my life, they wouldn't want to be around me. So I've got to be a principled person. Now it says, they are new people of God, it says. Now, the only thing that's changed about me is that I'm not using, nothing's changed. Because I'm still a dope fiend, just without the dope. I'm still a fiend. See, and it's so important to understand that we want to be new people, like Tim said. Now in Job 22:21, it talked about submitting. A lot of us are rebellious people. 1 Kings 5:4, the steps are designed to clean up your side of the street. You can't control what other people do. We need to clean house on our side of the street. And now it says, but now the Lord my God has given me peace on every side. I have no enemies. All is well. See, what I've learned with God is the bottom line is I can't control if you got a problem with me, but I have no problem with you. Whatever you do to me or whoever, I'm at peace with it. See, what I've learned is the problem ain't me, it's you. See, I used to use that line in my relationships. It's nothing to do with you, but it has to do with me, so we should break up. See, the key is that you'll have no enemies. It doesn't matter what anybody does or doesn't do when you have peace. Colossians 3:15. The steps are designed to own and then disown baggage from you. See, we got to own it. We've got to own these behaviors. We got to own these resentments. And then we got to disown them. That's what step 6 is all about. Entirely ready to have God remove what you've owned since a little child. And we do such a terrible job of pretending. I don't want to be a pretender. I want to be a contender. See, you can see when people like me, there's something going on, but I'll tell you, I'm fine. See, and I want to be a contender. I don't want to be a pretender. And that's what it says now. It says, and let the peace that comes from Christ rule. What's ruling you? The baggage is ruling you. Your past is ruling you. Your shame is ruling you. Your anger is ruling you. See, and that's not what God has for us. It says, let the peace, you got to let it come in. We're afraid of it. It comes from Christ, rule your hearts. And it says, for members of one body, you're called to live in peace. If there's turmoil in you, there's going to be turmoil around you. It's very quiet in here. And it says, always be thankful. That's why I say when I pray, I'm thankful to be above ground and out of prison. I shouldn't be here. I should not be living right now. I certainly shouldn't be a pastor. I certainly shouldn't be around great people like you. I should be in prison or dead. What am I doing with this opportunity? And because of lack of character, minimal people step up to the plate. These next steps are really going to separate the men from the boys. What you come to find is no matter what your age is, because everybody for the most part is over 18, we're men with little boy issues. We're women with little girl issues. And people are watching us. People are watching how we do. Just like I say often, and wherever you work, people are watching. You're tooting your recovery God horn at work and snapping off on somebody the next minute. And then thirdly, you're inviting them to church. Why would they want to come to your church? What do you have that they want? And that's what it is there. Now in Hebrews 12:11, it says we need to walk through the pain in order to manage your blessings. See, a lot of us, we get back what we lost, but we do it for all the wrong reasons. We're not working on ourselves because we're not good at sticking to the course, and we just lose it again. That's a lot of work. That's more work than actually working the steps. But we're not. Check out what it says here. It says, no discipline is enjoyable while it's happening. It's painful. See, if I was to put a hard check on some people, you would crumble. You would crumble. That's why Doug and Jack deal with people. Because it would be so raw truth about what needs to be changed, you wouldn't be able to handle it. And I didn't either. I couldn't handle it either. Pastor Earl to just call it like he sees it. And tell me what he sees, what needs to be changed. I mean, everybody gets, Mr. Trudeau, this faith, this Christian thing. Oh, kumbaya, love. And when you're a drug addict like me, you need to be told what time it is. And it ain't going to be what you want to hear. I heard this in an NA community comic once. Your first thought is always wrong. And if you go to your mentor, chances are what they will tell you to do has nothing to do with what you were thinking about doing. And that's why it says no discipline is enjoyable while it's happening, but it's painful. But afterwards, there will be a peaceful harvest of right living and those who are trained with it. I'm still sick. I've been sick for a week. And then I think to myself, somebody gets a sniffle, they're not going to meetings for a week. Well, I don't have that option. See, I don't get to plan my own course. God plans it. That means I stay up till 2 in the morning studying for a message. That means I don't get to go out to date night with her some nights. Because people are depending on their life and their death on what we do in this program. It ain't about me. It ain't about, I've proven in my addiction I can stay up for 2 weeks. So it comes down to helping and I got to go help somebody at 3 in the morning, I'll be the first one there. Because I need to sleep for days in my addiction. I ain't going to be some wimp in my recovery. It ain't going to happen. But because we got little boy issues, we don't like to be disciplined because we were disciplined in the wrong way as children. But that was then and this is now. I say that to Nikki all the time. She's gotten over it. And if I say to her, I'm going to say it to you. Because not only I say to you, I don't say to my own family. She doesn't know her father. I'm her father. But as a teenager, she used that a lot. And I don't know what it's like to not know your father. And I'm sure it's tough. But she held on to that for many years as angry and resentful and acted out as the victim. And she couldn't see what God had put in front of her with this new family. If you're a victim, there'll be many victims. And it says now in Isaiah 26:12, it says the 12 steps is your effort and God's outcome. You will accomplish 20% at best what God's going to do the rest. And it says, let the Lord grant us peace. I looked up grant in the dictionary today. It says that's your right, it's a privilege, it's God's favor on your life. That a guy like me that sought peace in women, drugs, money, what it said on my business card, everywhere, I just looked for every rock on this green earth to find peace, and the only place I found it is with Him. And it's got to be granted to you. It's just got to. And it says all we have accomplished is really from you. So if you come against, this has not, Serenity Village, it hasn't had anything to do with Jeff Hill, we'd be in big trouble. Every TV in every house would be in the pawn shop. That's Jeff Hill, the crack addict. But because it's him, so if you come against this, you come against him. See, there's no better description of what I've seen since working these steps than what I just read in step 7. It says we humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Humbly means that I can't and He can. And it says to remove our shortcomings. I taught about this about a year ago on the 7th step. If you don't work them, your short is coming. I'm tired of coming up short. There's nothing that made me more upset than getting a short dope deal. But my whole life I've come up short. And that's why not asking God to remove them. Now check this out. I really want you to hear what it says here. This is why the steps are powerful. Though each of the 12 steps is a separate process unto itself, they are blend together to some degree as their parts interact with one another. Aspects of step 1 fusing into step 2, components of step 4 meshing into the following steps. Perhaps the finest line between 2 steps is the one between step 6 and step 7. At first glance, step 7 may seem almost an afterthought of step 6. We spent a great deal of time and effort raising our awareness of our character defects in step 6. We get to this point where we're entirely ready to have them removed. Now all we need to do is ask, right? Not Not exactly. There's much more to this step than just filing a request with our higher power and waiting for a response. There's spiritual preparation. There's a need to develop an understanding about what humbly means in this context. There's a need to find a way of asking that fits into our individual spiritual paths. And there's a need to practice spiritual principles in the place of character defects. Preparing to work. I mean, here's how I'm conditioned. And I've actually done this too. I'll do the questions, but I don't read any of this. I need to stop doing it because I'm in a hurry. We all need to stop doing that. Shortcuts are nothing but setbacks. See, and check out what it says, because it's describing you and me to a T. We've already done much of our spiritual preparation we need to begin step 7. It's important that we draw the connection between the work we've done and the results the work has produced. Have you done the work, and do you have any results? See, even if you don't feel like you have results, you still practice humility by doing the work, and God will honor it. So at least grasp onto that. It says the previous steps have all served to sow seeds of humility into our spirits. In this step, the seeds take root and grow. Many of us have difficulty with the concept of humility, and while we began addressing this issue in step 6, it merits attention of step 7 too. We need to understand what humility is for and how its presence is revealed in our lives. We should not confuse humility with humiliation. When we're humiliated, we are ashamed. We feel worthless. Humility almost is the complete opposite of this feeling. Through working the steps, we begin stripping away layers of denial, ego, self-centeredness. We have been building a more positive self-image and practicing spiritual principles. Before, we couldn't see our strengths because the good, healthy part of us was hidden behind our disease. Now we can. That is humility. That tells you right now that's the first strength we should be getting. All of you, under the sound of my voice, tonight have the strength of humility. Let's give ourselves a hand. Because even some of you look bored, you're still here. You could have walked out by now. And you probably want to. But you're still here. And that's humility, and I commend that. Again, I mean, God's removing my character defect and not to take things personally. It's not my life. Your life isn't my life. My life's to do this. Yours is too if you step up to the plate to do it. It says, the working of steps and stripping away the layers of denial, ego, and self-centered. We have been building more positive self-image and practicing spiritual principles. Before, we couldn't see our strengths. It says, that is humility. Some examples how humility is often revealed may help you understand this concept. We started out in recovery with fixed ideas. How many had fixed ideas on how this is going to go down? First thought, wrong. Since we've been in recovery, I mean, how many people said, that's not what I signed up for? I signed up for the bare minimum. I signed up for the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum. And the AA program teaches me half measures avail is nothing. It says, everything believed in the past has been challenged. See, accept the challenge. Accept the discipline. Accept being corrected. Accept being talked to like a man. You should never coddle something that needs to be confronted. If you comfort something that needs to be confronted, you'll comfort it for the next 10 years and nobody changes. And that's why it's saying here, we are, a barrage with new ideas. I mean, I got all these ideas of how my life should look. Every day they come on me. For instance, we believe that we are in control. Just the fact that we wound up in NA admitted our powerlessness was probably enough to change our outlook. Because of our addiction, we failed to learn the lessons that life itself would have taught us and how much control one individual has. Though, through our abstinence and working the first 6 steps, we've learned a great deal about how to live. Many of us came to NA with certain street mentality. I see it in the jails all the time when I go down there. With the strutting and the tough guys in the room. The only way we knew to get what we wanted was by approaching it indirectly and manipulating people. We didn't realize that we could just be forthright and have the same chance. See, that's right. If my wife hurts she says stuff hurtful to me and I say stuff hurtful to her, I say that hurt me. I was never, for 39 years I couldn't do that. Because I was a victim. But I can't be that person. It says, if not better, of fulfilling our needs, we spent years learning to blank our facial expressions. Boy, those phony smiles get me. Hide our compassion and harden ourselves. We learn to suppress all humanity and become, in some cases, completely inhumane. Boy, that's true. Removing ourselves from the arena in which some games are played. How many play games in their recovery? How many people are playing games in their recovery? How many people are playing games? You want me to start calling you out? In which such games are played exposed to new ideas. I don't want new ideas. I don't like change. I want to do it my way. We learned that it was okay to have feelings and show them. We found out that the rules of the street only made a sense on the street. In the real world, which all of us run from, they were crazy and often dangerous. We became softer and more vulnerable. We no longer mistook kindness for our weakness. That's what a lot of people, especially with Christians, they come into this program and because we're kind and we love, they think we're weak. You think God's going to select somebody to lead this that's weak? And what did they ask me on the radio? And I'm not making this about me. I'm saying this because I'm confident about it. The guy who did the radio interview says, well, you know what's right or wrong when you're ministering to addicts and alcoholics because you are one. I said, yes. I'm just as sick as they are. You can't con a con. God loves you. You should have seen some recent relapses that God just brought out to the light. It's like they had surveillance cameras on them. People calling me. I don't know what program you're, but one of your residents was just here drunk. See, here's the thing you got to know about this. When God calls you, you can look at it as a blessing and as a curse. The blessing is they called you. The curse is that you can't get away with nothing. There is a hedge of protection around this place. And if you don't take advantage of it, you will always, it's just like, just come. Because you know what? You're not going to change overnight. I'm not going to change overnight. Like Tim said, 9 years into it, he's still got flies. I still got flaws. I still want to quit. I still want to tell you my piece of my mind when my mind's twisted. I still want to run. All those things are character defects. But it says, check this out now. This really stood out to me. And I know it's getting long. We'll close here shortly. This is a very important. I think this step is, in my opinion, as important as any other step. Changing these attitudes is a dramatic effect. Oftentimes, it even changes our physical appearance. Now, I have people that are in the program right now that don't look different than when they came and they say they're sober. The physical appearance is the first sign that somebody's healthy. The first sign that they're not sneaking. When they start to look better. See, it's so important, and I'm hard on myself about this because when I look at somebody, I'm like, boy, they haven't changed for 2 months. They look like they just came in. And we did UAM, and we did UAM, and he's using it. See, people can see, a lot of times, guys, with people like you and I, people can see how well you're doing before you recognize how well you're doing. I'm not just talking about doing bad here. You can't see it yourself. See, I met that brother when I walked in the door. I could see he's about business. I don't even know him. Just a handshake. What's your name? Sean. Just a handshake that I had with him. I can tell this guy's the real deal. Just in that quick interaction. See, and the key is, now check this out. Many of us arrived in NA, Serenity Village, AA, SA, GMA, or whatever the deal is. I go to them all. Many of us arrived in NA convinced that we were victims of bad luck, unfavorable circumstances, conspiracies, thwart our good intentions. We believed we were good people, but profoundly misunderstood. We justified any harm we caused as self-defense. If we were capable of realizing what caused harm at all, feelings of self-pity went hand in hand with that attitude.
We revealed in our suffering and secretly knew that the payoff for our pain was never, ever having to look at our part in anything. But after the first 6 steps get us to begin to just do that. We look at our part in things. Once we thought that certain situations happened to us, now we see how those situations really created by us. We become aware of the opportunities we've wasted. We stop blaming other people for a lot of our life. We begin to see that where we ended up has been determined mostly by the choices we made. Humility is a sense of our own humaneness. If this is the first experience with the 7th step, this may be to the point when we first feel a sense of compassion for ourselves. Stop being so hard on yourself. I give each and every one of us credit tonight for being here. You would have never caught me, number one, in the church. Secondly, on a Tuesday night. And I mean, we're our own worst enemies. And when I come to direct with you, I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm trying to just tell you that, when somebody actually cares enough about you to be direct with you, that means they love you. And what it's saying is that it's deeply moving to realize for the first time that we're truly just human and trying to do our best. All God wants is your best. He doesn't expect us to be perfect. We make decisions both good and bad and hope things turn out okay. With this knowledge about who we are, we also realize just when we're doing our best. So other people, we feel a real connection with others, knowing that we're all subject to the same insecurities and failings that we all have dreams for our future. Now we need to acknowledge our own humility and explore how to make itself known in everyday lives. Our work in the previous steps has helped us build a relationship with God. Now, why does it say God here and not higher power? Because it goes back and forth with it. So, a character defect would be, oh my God. It doesn't say higher power. I'm no longer safe. It says, a relationship with God. Now I'm going to go back to higher power here in a minute. Of God, of our own understanding. That work, see, my understanding of God was so far off, I needed somebody to teach me about it. I thought God was about rules and regulations. But if God was about rules and regulations and punishment, I wouldn't be alive today. If I would have gotten what I deserved, I would not be here. And that's what it's saying. Now it says, asking to have your shortcomings removed. So how do we ask God of our understanding to remove our shortcomings? The answer is likely to depend on a great deal of what kind of understanding we have with God. As individuals, we might pick a particular personal routine. Steve, if you want to see a routine, watch Steve's life. He's extremely diligent. Or a ritual as a way of asking our higher power to remove our shortcomings. For the purpose of this guide, we will call it prayer. The word prayer is widely accepted in our fellowship as a description. Getting out of the way. A lot of us have a hard time dealing with that. Most of us realize that we probably need to do something more in this step than just pray for our shortcomings to be removed. See, I love this text because I didn't know what it meant to ask God to remove my shortcomings. I needed a detail to tell me what it means. And this is what it's telling me. We need to take some action that will invite the God of our understanding to work in our lives. We can't ask God to remove a shortcoming, then hang on to it with all of our might. The more distance we keep between ourselves and now let me ask you a question. And it's getting late. How much distance would there be between you and God without Serenity Village? There'd be a ton for me. And it says, the more distance we keep between ourselves and our higher power, the less we feel the power's presence. We have to maintain awareness of ourselves, and we gain by the 6th step, and add to the awareness of God working in our lives. Now I'm going to go to the last page. It says, moving on. At this point, we may wonder how we're supposed to be feeling. How many have spent their whole lives wondering how they're supposed to be feeling? It says, we ask the God of our understanding to remove our shortcomings. We faithfully practice these principles of our program. See, what you put in is what you'll get out. If you get the minimum, you'll get back the minimum. And the minimum ain't going to cut it for you. I wasn't a dope fiend minimum guy. It said, we ask God our understanding to remove our shortcomings. We faithfully practice the principles of the program to the best of our ability, but we may still find ourselves acting out as before the program to the best of our ability. We've had a chance to think and always struggling with our defects. I still struggle. Sure, we're no longer using, and many of the outside circumstances. Now check this out. This is why I had to go to 11 treatments. Sure, we're no longer using, and many of our outside circumstances of our lives have probably gotten better. Our relationships are more stable, perhaps, but have we changed? Have we become better people? Only you can answer that question. I've been that guy that does good for a while, gives everything back, and it all goes just as quick as it can. It says, in time we'll find that God has worked in our lives. We may even be startled by the level of maturity or spiritually we've demonstrated in handling a situation that in the years past would have been us acting very unspiritual. One day we'll realize that some of the ways we used to act have become an alien as spiritual principles were when we first started practicing them. I mean, this isn't going to be, it's going to feel not normal to do these things. Because our normal was not good. It was normal for me to cuss you up. It was normal for me to quit. It was normal for me to... Everything that we're doing today is not normal. After such a revelation, we may be thinking about the person we were when we first came to NA and how little we resemble that person now. Something should change. We begin to live more spiritual lives. We stop thinking so much about what we're going to get, even from our recovery, and start looking at how we can contribute. See, we're all takers. We need to become givers. It says, the things we do to sustain and nourish our spirits become habits. We may even look forward to them. We find that we're free to choose how we want to look at any situation in our lives. We stop grumbling about small inconveniences as if they're major tragedies. We become able to hold up our heads with dignity and maintain our integrity no matter what life presents us. As we begin to get more comfortable with our spiritual selves, our desire to heal our relationships will grow. We begin to process the 8th step. Now, I talked to, and I'm this person too. Imagine an addict that has their back against the wall will do anything. If you or I can stay as hungry as we were when we got here, we will have the best life ever. Today I talked to 2 people that relapsed. One's down off 34th in Chicago smoking crack right now. The other one just lost everything. And they're willing now to do whatever it takes. What is it going to take for me to get back to Serenity Village? If they would have only kept that level of willingness, this wouldn't happen. I speak as a chronic relapser myself. That I need to be around people that will challenge, discipline, correct me because I am capable of mass destruction. The founder, the pastor of the church you go to is capable of mass destruction. That is the healthiest fear I've ever had. It keeps me close to God. It keeps me close to godly people. This is your time to get this right. You are not a mistake. God has a plan for you. Freedom is just around the corner if you don't quit. It's time to deal with your character issues. Let's take a 10-minute break. I love you.